The highlight for me, though, was to appreciate how much they had in common. And what I think I've come to realise in my work as a mediator and as a negotiating coach and a strategist and so forth in conflict is that we tend to highlight the differences and the divergences a lot, and that's the nature of the adversarial system of litigation and arbitration very often. Whereas, in fact, one of the beauties of mediation is that we can help parties to see where they converge. And of course, there remains a dispute, but what occurred on this occasion, as in most occasions, is that they had a great deal in common. Well, I am who I am, and one of the things I have been enabled to do as a mediator is to be more authentically myself. Now, that's a journey for all of us. It's a journey for parties in mediation, for their advisors. So I think more and more I try to give what I can give and not pretend to be someone else or try to be somebody else. So I suppose that if one was to be characterised, I would be classed, and would probably be quite happy to class myself more at the facilitative end, insofar as that means anything. But I'm not so sure that we do ourselves justice by calling ourselves facilitative or directive or evaluative. I mean, what I think we do is we work in a range, a continuum, if you like. And so there are times when I am very concerned to make sure that parties have autonomy, make their own decisions, focus on what interests them, what concerns them, and it's not for me to dictate, guide, or suggest. On the other hand, there are mediations and at times in mediation when I will be fairly direct, rigorous and robust with them in order to help them to make decisions and to make choices about decisions and indeed to take responsibility for themselves. So we call it reality testing or whatever, asking challenging questions. What if you're in the other room, put yourself in the other side's shoes. A role I sometimes play is Mr. Justice not very clever, or Lord not very sharp. And I take up my metaphorical wig, and I would do this in each room for parity, and I'd put on my metaphorical wig and I'd say, now if I was the judge, I might think 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not saying that's what a judge would think, I'm not saying it's right, but these would be the concerns I might have, and I want to reassure you I'm doing the same in the other room. So while not saying to them directly, you will lose, because I think that's inappropriate, one never knows as much as to be able to do that, at least in my approach, it gives them the opportunity to think very clearly and in a very focused way on the realities and the risks which they face. In international commercial disputes, it's likely that it's really important for parties involved to be able to continue to have effective business relationships going forward. And one of the things that mediation allows people to do is to engage productively in difficult conversations about presenting disputes, which otherwise will take up a great deal of management time, perhaps lead to loss of opportunities for more business. And we know very often that if people are involved in a dispute internationally or domestically, other parties will not transact with them while that dispute, particularly if it's a big one with ramifications, will not transact with them during the currency of the dispute. Therefore, getting the matter sorted out quickly is important. So preservation of relationships, speedy resolution of problems, creative ways of re-engaging with the other parties, looking obviously to use the language to expand the pie, but what that means really is trying to make sure that wherever possible creative outcomes are found. So certainty, cost reduction, communication, continuing relationships, all of these things I think apply, Eunice, in international settings as much as they do domestically. I think in particular internationally, now that we live in an interdependent world, we need to encourage international business, international trade, international relationships. And what above all else mediation does is encourage business and relationships to flourish in a commercially effective way.